Back inside our SNY studios, just over at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, and the Dodgers knock off the Mets by a final of 10-5. They win the National League Championship Series 4-2. They advance to the World Series, take on the New York Yankees to crown a baseball champion for this season. Disappointing to say the least, without question, that the run comes to an end, but it was an incredible run for the Mets this year. They got to places that I don't think a lot of people expected they were going to get to, especially when things hit rock bottom there at the end of the month of May. So a lot to get to here on our post-game show. Let's begin with what happened in this series and why things fell short against the Dodgers, Todd.
Well, the Dodgers are just a relentless offense, and they took advantage of the Mets starting pitching, which had been so good, right up to the very end, but just wasn't able to maintain that same kind of dominance, go deeper into games. The bullpen then became a little bit suspect as well. So, look, the Dodgers are a team that's built to do that to starting pitchings. They're built to be controlling of the strike zone, to have quality at-bats. And they've got some guys that don't just control the at-bats, but are quality players, quality hitters, big-time hitters with men on base, and superstar guys as well. So the Mets starting pitching was really one of the stories. And then on the other side of that, the Mets continued to fight. This is nothing but, the commentary on what happened tonight. And in this series, the Mets were relentless themselves. Tonight, they just couldn't come through with the big hits with men in scoring position. They ended up creating a lot of traffic once again. But it was the Dodgers that came through with the men on base and made this one a lopsided one again, Gare.
I mean, there's the way of looking at it as the magic ran out. That's one way of looking at it. The other way is the more practical way, which is that the Mets pushed their starting pitchers very hard through the latter stages of the season to places where they really had not been in years, whether it was Sean Manaea or Luis Severino or Jose Quintana. The innings just piled up, and I think those innings really backed up on them in this series. They just ran out of gas, and the Mets just didn't have enough in their bullpen to compensate. And as far as the offense is concerned, they were too sporadic. They scored just 7 runs in the 4 losses in this series, including the 5 runs they scored today. They got outscored 37-7 in those 4 losses. The Dodgers are just too good a team with too many offensive weapons, too many good bullpen arms. They got more than we expected them to from their starters. They were just the better team.
All right, so you talk about the starting pitching. Sean Manaea got the start for the Mets tonight. Man, they needed to get some length out of Sean Manaea, and it did not happen. 2+ innings and 5 runs. What happened there?
Well, we previewed it coming in. I mean, he hit the wall in his last start after 5 innings, and 5 innings where he left everything on the field, and you just see him losing his command in the 6th. Tonight just goes to the fact that I think Sean was just running out of steam. 198 in the 3rd innings coming into tonight, which was 80 more than he had last season and a career high for Sean. So you can't blame him at all for running out of steam, but I think that's just what happened, Gare. And then because of the fact that he didn't have that same kind of life on it that he could dominate with the fastball, he was trying to mix, trying to be selective, and then mistakes that he did make were capitalized on by the Dodgers.
One of the things you hoped was that the Mets were going to jump out to an early lead in this game, and they did get that opening run in the 1st inning, and they give it right back with 2 in the bottom of the inning. What did you see, Gare, as the big difference between Manaea in his first outing in this series and then tonight?
Well, he just didn't have it. I mean, it was pretty clear he had no command of his fastball right from the start. And honestly, I think that Carlos Mendoza was between a rock and a hard place in this game. But he had to see with his eyes. I mean, we've given him so much credit this year for being able to maneuver situations and use his eyes to understand situations. And I think it was obvious to everybody that Manaea didn't have it. And after a 34-pitch 1st inning, to me, you've got to go to somebody else in that 2nd inning. Whoever your bulk guy is, whether that's Kodai Senga, whether you think that Severino can give you some innings, whether it's Tyler or McGill, they let the game get away by leaving Manaea in there and allowing the Dodgers to get those 4 runs in the 3rd inning after Tommy Edman hit the 2-run homer. And so it really was a game where the manager didn't have as many weapons as he would have liked, so he used his heart and stayed with his starting pitcher, who's been his ace all year, much longer than he should have.